Hello and welcome to another episode of the Counterplay Archive. As you can see, we're doing the intro in-game because I'm too lazy to record out of game, so my fault. But yeah, this is how we're going to change it for now on. But besides that, today we're going to be going over Vikala. This one, as soon as I saw in the 2.3 patch notes, I kind of had to push this ahead a little bit, just because as a spectator, and also someone who has played this character, I'm sick and tired of watching people lose to this character because they don't understand the match. This goes for everybody at every skill level. I don't think I've seen a single person, besides maybe like two people, that actually understand this matchup and aren't losing to knowledge checks. So I'm taking this time to push this one forward and give the most in-depth guide on how to beat this character, because I am tired of watching people lose to this character in the stupidest ways because we're not trying to laugh. So yeah, if I sound mad during this video, I am. So I'm just gonna put that out there beforehand. But yeah, with that out of the way, we have a little bit of a different format going into this video. I'm gonna do the typical go over all the moves and what they do and what to look out for beforehand in the first half of this video, and then in the second half is going to be covering specific knowledge checks and what you should do for those knowledge checks, and be a bit in depth when it comes to the certain moves and specials, like certain cancelable options, certain situations and stuff like that. So if you want to think of it this way, the first half is very general stuff. This is the frame data, this is what this move does, and second half will be this is how you deal with this certain situation, this is how you deal with this certain move at this certain character, or just in general. So yeah, that's how I'm gonna be formatting this video. Maybe we'll do that for other stuff later on, but hopefully I can make this first half a little bit faster, and then the second half a little bit more in detail, and of course a little bit longer because it's going to be more in depth. This is mainly being done because this is one of the characters I put a lot of time into, so I feel like I know this character pretty well, more than most people, at least in North America. And yeah, so hopefully with this I can help people who have been losing this character, especially on winning matchups, because that's like 80% of the cast, not lose to this character anymore for not knowing what the hell they're doing. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into our regularly scheduled program. So to start off with our L normals, she has a 6-frame close light, so it's slower than the typical. As you can see, Gran's is 5 frames and Vikala's is 6, but it shares the same properties as a typical 5L. So something to know if there are certain situations where 6 framers will lose in situations where 5 framers won't. Before 5L is also 6 frames. It's pretty typical. It isn't too big. It's probably about like Grand range, something like that. It's nothing too crazy. Maybe it's a bit bigger than Grand. Sorry, Grand, that's tough. But yeah, nothing too crazy. Decent button. 2L is 6 frames and -2 on block. So more of the typical stuff. Her L normals are basically very standard, besides her having a slower than usual close L. Rem normals are not too bad. This move is her close M. It's a multi-hidden close M, and it pushes away, so it actually you can't grab after it. But if you've ever seen Vikala players run up and do this, it's not the typical Shoto close M, or I guess you can call it a Shoto close M, where this is 0 on block. No, this is -4, and if they just do this, you can you could definitely take your turn. Not take your turn. It is definitely your turn after this. Not like you're in range to throw, but it's your turn after this. For M, it's pretty good, besides the fact that it's -8. So if they don't cancel this, I don't think there's a lot of characters that can punish from that distance, but If you're like Siegfried or something like that, you're definitely punishing this with 2M if they don't cancel it. So just to give that specific example I just mentioned, they don't cancel it, and that's a punish right there. So if you are a character that is privileged like this, you have something that reaches that far, then by all means, go ahead and punish them for it, because it is not safe in the slightest. It is a pretty like good move though, I can't lie, for how like big it is and then how fast it is. It's just that it's -8. Of course, you could space it in a way where you can't really, or it's hard to punish it, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. Next is her 2M. Her 2M is something that I will cover a bit more later on with like certain cancelable options, but just to be brief, this move on block is terrible. This Vikala players should probably never do this on block, but they do it anyways, because yeah, people don't know what they're doing. It's -10, it's forward advancing, and it's a mid. It's not a low. You're not getting caught by this like randomly. This is a mid. It's 8 frames, and it's forward advancing, so it's a good like combo tool. But this on block is terrible. It's -10. I don't even need to switch to Siegfried to like show you this could be punished. Just seeing the frame data itself should probably be enough of an indicator. If they do this and they don't cancel, press a button, and you'll probably kill them for it. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. Like I said, I'll go into more detail on this move and its certain applications later on that is commonly used. I don't think it should be used that way, but it's commonly used. Next, it's her jokes of H normals. Her close H is 11 frames and is also -6. So if they've ever ran up and did this and not canceled, you could definitely punish them for it. So as you can see, this move kind of blows. It's also 11 frames, like I mentioned, so it's pretty slow. So yeah, her close H is nothing special. It's 11 frames, it's -6 on block. So yeah, if they ever don't cancel on this, then you can punish them for it if you're aware of that. Of course, it's not the easiest thing to do, but yeah. Next is her far H. Her far H is also 11 frames. I'd say it's -10, so it's kind of bad, but I don't think you're really punishing this, especially with how much distance it covers. For it being 11 frames, this is a pretty like solid button in terms of range. Well, there's certainly nothing to scoff at, but yeah, again, if she doesn't cancel off into this move, then she's definitely very negative, so something to keep in mind. Next is her 2H. Her 2H isn't great. As you can see, this doesn't like cover a good chunk of range, nor does it go very high. Of course, the hitbox is a little bit bigger than this. Obviously, I don't have the hitbox mod, so I can't show you. You might have to go check the dust loop for that. But yeah, this is also 11 frames, so all her H normals are 11 frames. But yeah, yeah, that's about it. That's about it. As you can see on blog, this isn't anything crazy. So before we cover her unique, let's go into her 2U. Her 2U is actually pretty decent. It's an 8 framer and it's decently large. Not like crazy large, but like it covers a decent distance. This is kind of like, it's a little bit bigger than Grand's. Yeah, a little bit bigger than Grand's. So yeah, it's pretty alright. It's just a move to look out for sure. Alright, next into her 5U. Her the thing that makes her her, I guess. So yeah, her 5U is item. She can think of like how many different items. Let's go count together. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different items. So yeah, she can throw out 8 different items, either by letting go of this right here, or she can kind of stop thinking if she presses an attack button while holding her unique. She can throw this out at 2 different angles. This is regular 5U, and then this is 4U. She has to input this beforehand, or like she can't change this mid-thing. So if I start off 5U right here, This is gonna throw out 5U. I do 5U, I try to pull back. It still throws out 5U. Same goes for this. So yeah. As you can see, the only thing that changes with these is the direction is the angle. And the angle can be useful for different things that I'll cover a little bit later when I go more into detail. But for right now, let's cover the properties of each of these moves. So to start out, we have the regular ball, which isn't great. This is like her standard whatever. They do some block like up close, like point blank. They're minus. So this move is kind of just like the standard. It does something. It doesn't like lead to any combos or anything. Actually, it does in one specific circumstance. But yeah, this move is basic, and it honestly isn't something to worry about too much. Just know it's like a typical like projectile, but it's like a bad projectile. So yeah, just to continue off the list, we're gonna go in that order. Next is bomb. Bomb is unique, as in this doesn't hit the opponent. It doesn't have a hitbox on the way out, but yeah, like doesn't until it explodes. As you can see, I'm throwing this on Grand. It doesn't like hit him or anything like that. So yeah, this thing, as you can see, it sits there and then it will blow up after a decent amount of time. Does a decent amount of chip. But yeah, the thing that I want you to take a note in particular is the fact that this doesn't, if this is thrown, this doesn't hit the opponent. It has no hitbox on the way out. I want you to keep that in mind. Like the exploding part, okay, it explodes, it's a bomb. But keep this in mind for later. I will also, like, you know, recap a little bit. But yeah, just definitely keep this in mind. Next is Cannonball. It is like normal ball, but like good. This puts you in a decent amount of block stun, and she is +6 up close. So you can already imagine if she's not up close, it's definitely not your turn. So yeah, this one does have a hitbox on the way out. So yeah, that's about it. It's normal projectile, but it's normal ball but good. What's even better though is Spike Ball. This move is low-key broken, I can't lie. So this thing, it has a starting hitbox as well, and it's pretty plus back there. But it also, as you've probably seen, rolls like maybe 3/4 of the stage, and that's counting like you like and your opponent like backing up. So this thing will keep rolling, like it will keep rolling. So yeah, this is like, it's a pretty good move. Once it's out on the screen, honestly, there isn't too much you can do about it. There are certain characters that can clear this, but yeah. So yeah, once this move is on the ground, you can't really do much about it. Like I said, there are some characters that can clear this that have like low hitting like projectiles. But if you're not one of those, you probably can't clear it. You're definitely not clearing it with a normal, because that's just not how this works. You're gonna lose. Just to show that off, as you can see, I tried to 2L that. That's not working. I tried to 2M this. That's not working. I tried to 2U this. That's not working. So yeah, if this is on the ground, you're, to put it lightly, you're fucked. We're just gonna put it that way. This move is good. That's like one of the few things that this character has going for her. She has 2 projectiles that are broken, and yeah, this is certainly one of them. Next in the Smoke Bomb. This move low-key sucks. It doesn't have a hitbox on coming out, and it just places a smoke bomb. Yeah, that's it's in the name. So yeah, I guess the thing to have in mind is that this is certainly, it exists and it doesn't have a hitbox coming out. But yeah, it does what a smoke bomb does. It places smoke. And in this situation, yeah, both you and the opponent can't see anything. So yeah, it does what a smoke bomb do. Next is the other broken item, and that's Star. Star is special, as it, 1, takes more than 1 hit to go away, and 2, it's kind of like the Spike Ball, where it kind of just continues moving on the screen. and it bounces instead. So yeah, this thing takes 2 hits for it to fully disappear. So after the first one, it will bounce off of the opponent and keep moving, but after the second one, it disappears. This is something that I will go over a little bit more later, but these moves actually can be interacted with like projectiles. I missed right there, but as you can see, it actually bounces off the projectile, so it acts like a normal projectile when it's in the air. But as you can see, it only gets hit by one of these, one of the 3 hits of Grand's EX. But yeah, most ultimate projectiles, if I can time this right. I can't time this right. Actually just delete it. So yeah, like I said, I'll cover this more in depth later, but if you're worried about these items and them being out, you can actually delete them with some sort of ultimate projectile if they're kind of, you know, in the air. That goes specifically for this and maybe like the spike ball. So yeah. Next into the 2 items that do Vikala more harm than good, and that is the healing items. Heart is one of them. Heart, once again, like some of the others, have no hitbox coming out, but they heal whoever runs into them. And Vikala is certainly not throwing these on herself. The most of the time is healing her opponent. This heals like, I don't know how much HP, but it heals enough HP to, like, it's definitely not Lane healing, but it's some type of healing. I guess the healing, it doesn't matter too much. Just know that this move doesn't have a hitbox coming out, and yeah, it'll heal you. Next is Cheese. Instead of healing health, this thing regenerates meter. This one is probably easier to find out if I just go here and I reset this. It gives you 10%. So it's a decent amount of meter. But yeah, that's about it. It acts the same way as Heart, but instead it's meter. So you can also do her uniques in the air, and it kind of acts as air stall. She can hold this for a good chunk of time. As you can see, she can hold this for almost 2 seconds in the air. And then her actions out of this are the exact same. She has the normal 5U, and then she has the 4U, which throws it at an angle a little up right there. But the 5U throws at a more like 45-degree angle, while this throws like a more straight down. So next, moving into her dash attacks, because I kind of don't cover this a lot, so I gotta remind myself to do that. So dash attacks. She has 60 which is an overhead. It's 26 frames, so it is 2 frames faster than your typical Raging Strike. But yeah, it's -6 because it's slow as hell. But it's good to know that it's -6, so you can punish this with a far L for most characters. Or if you're close enough and they do this right on your face, you can probably get yourself a close M. For some characters, obviously your character might not have a 6-frame close M, but yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. You'll probably see this in like certain setups and stuff like that, where they have like traps set up or items thrown out, so it's something to look out for then. Next is her 66H. Her 66H doesn't see a lot of use, maybe sometimes in like situations where she has like trap set up to kind of just like push you in, but like besides that, this move doesn't see a lot of use because it isn't very useful in any combos. There's like one combo, but it's very like you can do this combo if you want to look cool type of thing. It does lead into a combo on counter hit in the corner specifically, and then it will wall bounce. But besides that, it's safe on block, mid-screen, but if it is blocked in the corner, then you can grab this because it is -4. Although I highly doubt this is ever going to be done in the corner, but it's just something that's good to know. Now, with that out of the way, let's go into her specials. I'm going to start off different. We're going to start off with her 214 first because this is probably the simplest to tackle. So yeah, let's do that. So of course we have all 4 series of 214. We have 214L, 214M, 214H, and 214U. So, starting out with 214L. 214L is not a low, but it hits low to the point where you can't roll through this move. It is -8 on block. It travels like half of the screen. So if you're like full screen, okay, it's a little bit more than half the screen. But this is not something you'll be seeing right here. But yeah, it's her faster, like, kind of zoning tool. But it's also -8. So she isn't, like, if you're blocking this, it's certainly not her turn. But yeah, she can, this is like a jump scare from a distance. It is like, yeah, it's her zoning tool, essentially. That goes for all her 214s, but 214L and 214M should be the ones that you see more. But yeah, 214L is like staple zoning game plan from like this distance. Like I said, it can't be rolled because it kind of hits low, and as you can see, it does force counter hit. So yeah, you can, however, spot dodge this move, but I'm gonna go over this later. If you spot dodge this, you're probably not much better off than if you were to just block it, especially if you're trying to do it on reaction and it's not like preemptive. If you like preemptive, then you'll be like pretty well off, as you can see. But if it's like on reaction like that, then, you know, as you can see, +7, +6. But what if I just block it? I'm +8. So sometimes, like I said, I'm gonna go over this a little bit later on, like, more of the reason why, but you don't need to spot dodge this move unless you're on chip. Next is her 214M. Her 214M has a little bit slower startup. We're just gonna do this right here to kind of compare. You see 13 and then 15 right here. But the difference is that this move is +2. When will this ever matter? Never, because she's never doing this right here in your face. Because if you've played this game for long enough, or any fighting game for long enough for that matter, when you're blocking, you are holding down back. So let's see what happens when you hold down back against this move, or just down. It misses. So the +2 will literally never matter. Obviously, you know, you block this, she's +2 from right here. Okay, cool. What does that do? what does that do for her in this situation? Not too much. So yeah, it's +2, but it's just there because I guess they needed this move to, I don't know. Yeah, it's +2 on block if you ever have to block this up close. So I guess that's something to keep in mind. But besides that, yeah, as you can see, this move, you can crouch under this move and you'll be fine. You can spot dodge this move, and you can also roll this move. So this is something that you might see like full screen, because this does travel full screen. So this is something that, like, if you're full screen, that you might want to roll to get in a little bit closer, just to cover distance. But yeah, with that out of the way, we're gonna go into her 214H. 214H. I personally would say that you should never use this as a Vikala player in neutral, but who am I to say? I guess I don't play this character anymore, so my opinion doesn't matter. But yeah, this move is as fast as the L version, but instead this one does travel full screen. It's the speed of the L version, but it travels full screen instead. But yeah, as you can see, it's a little bit different from the L version. Not that it travels full screen, but that doesn't travel low. It actually travels kind of more in the middle of the character. So this changes. This in particular, where you can roll it now in comparison to the L version. If you spot dodge it, it's the same thing. And also on block, it is the exact same properties as the L version. So yeah, that's honestly all you need to know. This move might be thrown out from full screen because it's faster than the M version by 2 frames. And yeah, you can't crouch it, so it's like, okay, if you're on chip, then maybe that's a decent option. But yeah, it's more of a combo tool than anything. So I'd say if Vikala players are playing smart, then the only moves you should see in neutral are these 2 moves. This when you're closer, and this when you're like full screen or something like that. Next in the 214U. 214U is it's just the meter move of this one. You can do the same thing for basically everything that's not the L version. You can roll this. You can spot dodge this. And if you block it, you're like minus, or no, she's like -4. So this one's safe on block. But yeah, that's all you need to know. It's kind of the typical like ult thing where I was a little bit late on that. Again, it will beat projectiles, so that is something to keep in mind. But if it is like ultimate on ultimate, it kind of acts like an ultimate projectile thing. So yeah, it will clash. Also, something that's good to note that obviously you might have figured out already by the looks of this, but this is not a projectile. This is a physical property move. So stuff like parries, like one in particular is Nier's SSBA, will trigger a full animation on this, no matter where it connects. So that's pretty funny. I guess it's just something it was just something I wanted to point out. But yeah, I'll get into more specifics on some of this stuff later. But one other general tip that I want to keep in have you guys keep in mind, just in general, is that the fact on all of these. Let me just go here on this. On whiff, as you can see, she's -50. This thing, she has like 20 frames of recovery on this move. That goes for this move too. And what would you know, she has even more recovery on the H version. So, with that in mind, this is a character where a random ass jump from you will get you a long way, to say the very least. Especially if your character is very mobile in the air, jumping at this character is not a bad idea, just simply due to the fact that if you just randomly jump correctly, this character's life is over. All the stuff that she worked hard to build up on and, you know, try to keep you out, it's gone. It's never to be seen again, because you just jumped on her at the right time and she's -20 or -30 for whiffing at 214. So, not saying that you should just always jump at her, but if your opponent is seen to just throw these out like always, then a random jump will not hurt you every once in a while, because if you're right, she just dies. So with that out of the way, let's go into her 236 series. Her 236 series is Cannon. Cannon utilizes her items on her bar, as you can see under her meter bar. Next, and then when she does the thing, the item will pop up above her head, and then she can choose to shoot it with the unique button or the skill button as well. So of course she has her different inputs or different levels of cannon. This is L cannon right here. It shoots it at this angle. The M cannon shoots it at a more like a diagonal, more like a 45. And then the H1 sets up an air cannon and a grounded cannon. For both the L and the M cannon, if she holds the input, she can place them in the air, and one of each can exist at the same time. That is, being a grounded L and a air L, and then a grounded M and a air M. And once one is already out and a new one is placed, the old one will disappear and a new one will appear right in front of her. So yeah. This also applies to the EX versions, because the EX version is technically placing both an air version of the L and an air version of the M. So as you can see, this is the L1 right here, other L1 right here. I back up, I do the EX, and it takes the air L and the grounded L and it moves it right in front of her. The held version of the EX just changes the direction of the cannons, so it would be basically the directions of the M version if she decides to hold it, and if she doesn't decide to hold it, it gets the L version. For 236U is doesn't utilize any of the same stuff, and instead it shoots a ball, a big ball that sends you full screen. It literally sends you full screen. I'm gonna cover the U version first because it's pretty similar to cover. But yeah, the U version, this you cannot roll. Why? The game said so. So if you ever tried to roll this move and wondered why, it's you just can't roll this. So you can spot dodge it though. You can spot dodge it. Yeah, that's as much as I'm gonna get into that move right now. I'm gonna go over into it in a little bit more detail later when we go into more specific stuff. Alright, since cannons from L to H basically share the same properties besides the fact that, you know, EX spawns 2, I'm gonna go over this all together. Basically, all you need to know about the difference between the cannons is the angles that they shoot at. As you can see, this one shoots at like that angle. This is the L version. The M1 shoots at this angle. And then, you know, L1 in the air shoots at that angle, and then the M1 in the air shoots at that angle. I guess one other thing that's good to know is the fact that these cannons can shoot into each other, so the items can travel in between these two cannons and kind of, you know, keep moving and stuff like that. Also, if you didn't notice, these cannons only have 3 uses. So 1, 2, and you can see it kind of like starts flashing, and then 3, and then it disappears. So it's not on screen forever. Once you use it 3 times, it is gone. EX cannons, only difference that they have from the L and the M is the fact that since it sets up 2 cannons, it can shoot out 2 of the projectile at the same time, no matter you know, if she has a different projectile coming up later. So this is the same for any angle. She can just do this and she'll shoot out 2 projectiles of the item that is up on the screen. Also, you didn't already notice, since I've done it a couple of times, she can throw items from her 5U into the cannon, and they will shoot out like normally if they were shot out like from this immediately. So as you can see, something like that. One other thing I want to talk about with the cannons is the fact that some moves that didn't already have a hitbox on startup, or once they were thrown out with 5U, now all have a hitbox when thrown from the cannon. So as you can see, this actually makes contact with ground instead of landing on the ground. So general rule of thumb with this is that every move that didn't have a hitbox on the way out from a 5U or 6U now does out of a cannon. This goes for every single cannon. So yeah, this doesn't change if it was shot from the cannon or it was thrown into the cannon. They will always have a hitbox on the way out. Same goes for the healing items. Just wanted to put it out there. But it does have a kind of like a... It does kind of hit you, but it heals you. So it'll put you in hit stun, but it still heals you. So yeah. Besides that, I want to talk about frame data on this move. As you can see, she's minus 51. And that's just on placing this. So, yeah. She's like 1 frame faster, or she recovers 1 frame faster on an EX compared to a normal, like an L or an M. But yeah, I'll go over this a little bit later when I cover the more specific stuff. But yeah, just keep this in mind. She is very, very, very minus when throwing out this move. With that out of the way, let's move into the 6-3 series. 6-3 series, we're going to cover very quick. because I'm gonna cover this more in depth later. But she has this is a 623L, this is 623M, this is 623H, and then her 623U is a DP. 623O is an amazing pressure tool at a distance, which she can play very well with her far normals, is plus, and she can contest this space very well, especially in the corner. So this should, I say should because like no Vikala players ever actually do this, just play this pressure from right here, and I'll cover this a little bit more later. Like I said, we're just gonna cover this very briefly, but this move is very good from a distance. It's always plus. Up close though, she's very minus. So yeah, the 63M is angled up. So this move is not air unblockable, but it does cover at an angle where it can catch jumpers in the air. But obviously you can see it has a pretty big dead zone in front of her. It goes up and then it goes and it comes back down. It's seen a decent bit as an Oki tool on like throws and like certain setups, so it's something to keep in mind. As you can see, thanks to the dead zone, you can kind of just like be right here, and then she's in a pretty bad position. You can just kind of walk out of it. So something to keep in mind. Her 623H is her Let Me Be plus tool, because she's certainly plus. She's always plus no matter the spacing. But yeah, that's pretty much all this is. It shoots at the angle of 214L, but it stays out longer, so she's kind of like, she's able to act a little bit afterwards. Not too much afterwards, but yeah, sometimes you might see this thrown out to kind of contest space, or not contest space, kind of like control space, although she doesn't have too much time out of this to really do anything. But yeah, this is more of, you know, the plus frame tool. And then yeah, the other one is DP. This DP kind of sucks, I can't lie. One is because of the fact that it's a projectile, so it will lose to projectile invulnerable moves like Ladiva Headbutt and 6 Empty Hand. Yeah, Empty Hand, not Gated Demons, Empty Hand. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. If you play characters that have some sort of projectile invulnerable move, you'll beat out this move if you just, you know, use it to bait out DP. It's something that's good to know. Obviously, you know, not every character has a DP invulnerable move. So yeah. So with that out of the way, we're gonna go into Trap, which is her 2-2 series. Her traps act in this certain way where they travel a certain distance before stopping, and then if you walk over it, then it will activate. They also activate, or not they, because there's only 2 of these, activate if you're in the air as well. Doesn't matter where you are in the air, I don't think. As long as you like jump over it, it will activate. So that's like a unique trait of these traps. But as you can see, they don't, it's not air unblockable, so you can still block this in the air, but obviously you're blocking that in the air. The difference between the L and the M version is the distance that they are placed at. The L1 goes like a short distance, this is like half screen. The M version goes not full screen, but like 3/4, but they share the same frame data. This one just goes a different distance. As you can see, they both have the exact same properties. So these can actually be destroyed with lows, and not even just lows, they can be destroyed with moves that just hit the ground, or look like they hit the ground. As you can see with 2M, this is a mid. As you can see, she doesn't block low. So yeah, if you have any like move that looks like it hits low, but it doesn't actually hit low, it definitely clears trap. Also, another thing is that traps can be cleared after they activate. Why? I don't know, but that's just how this character works. So as you can see, I ran up and pressed 5L, and trap just disappeared. So thanks to them being able to be cleared by mids, as long as it looks like it hits them, you see it activates a little bit and you kind of like smack it and then it just disappears. So that also means that you can clear this move with 6XL, which is hilarious. So yeah, these traps aren't really doing their jobs as traps. This is why, however, traps are usually used not as like oh, I'm gonna do this and you can't really approach because you can clear this extremely easy. But it's more of, they'll try to sit up behind you and like put you in a situation where you have to block this right there. So yeah. Next into EX Trap. EX Trap, on paper is a pretty good move, but you know what, we'll save the negative stuff for afterwards. So let's just go over this move real quick. So unlike the other two traps, it, not that it tracks your opponent, but it will travel full screen until it meets your opponent, and it will jump at you. So yeah. However, you can kind of just jump over it. As long as it's like gets in like a specific distance from you, it will activate. And it's not like it goes very high, unlike the other traps. So, unlike the other traps, you cannot actually hit this when it is coming out. As you can see, I'm trying and it's just not working. So you might have seen people try to hit this and they die for it. No, they didn't miss the timing. You just cannot interact with this move. Actually, there are very specific moves that can interact with it, but that is something you might want to figure out for yourself. Just to give like certain characters, maybe like Andre or something like that, with his 623. If you have something similar to that, you might be able to clear it. The properties, I'm not 100% sure on like what it clashes with. But yeah, you go test that test it out for yourself. I'm gonna cover this now and then cover this later because this is something that is huge. This is like massive. Like if this is the one thing that you take away from this video, or if there's one thing that you take away from this video, have it be this. And that is that you can just run through this. If you have enough momentum, you can just run through this. This move, like I said, it's good on paper, but this is where the problem lies with this move in particular. You can just run through this move. And what are you gonna, like, what is she gonna do about it? Obviously, she can, like, if you're ready, like, if they're ready for it, they can kind of, like, you know, try to poke you from, like, trying to do this. But I don't know how many Vikala players even know that you can do this to their own move. Because no one, whether you play the character or not, understand this about the matchup. So oftentimes Vikala players will do like this and kind of like run behind and try to like, you know, take their turn. But what if you just like do this? This right here, this is like massive. So many people are just like, oh, she plays this, I gotta get back. Oh no, I'm gonna put myself in a bad position. Oh no, I gotta get out of here, bro. This thing is after me. Oh shoot. Oh no, I gotta jump and put myself in a bad situation. No. Just do this. 6-6 out, use your universal tool and kill this character for thinking she has a turn, because she doesn't. She doesn't. The 6-6 out kill strat. This move is fake. This is the fakest neutral skip in the entire game because it doesn't enforce anything. You can just run through it. You could 6-6 out through it. They think they have their turn, but they don't. So yeah, that's like I said, if there's one thing that you should take away from this video, it is this, because this kills so many people. So many people respect this move and they don't have to. And this is what kills like 90% of people against this character. You do not have to hold this. Ever. Not once. Next into her 2-2U. Her 2-2U is her 2-2H, but it has 2 hits. So this move is mainly used as, like, it does pretty decent chip. That's for one. And then, like, in a situation where, you know, you're, like, at chip range, and you're trying to spot dodge some stuff, this move is one of those where if you spot dodge immediately, you'll probably get caught if you're at this distance because of ult slowdown. However, it is 2-2H, but it just costs meter. So, what if you just run through it? So, yeah, once again, this is like a waste of 50 meter unless they find a way to, one, enforce this, because there are certain ways that I'll cover later, and 2, it's like chip situation, and you know this might be like a valid, you know, thing for mental stack, and you'll spot dodge early and you'll get caught by this. However, I did mention spot dodge early, but you can just straight up spot dodge this if you know your Vikala player is like aware of you trying to like run up and try to run through the thing and try to take your turn. So yeah, if you were wondering, yes, you can also roll through this move. This goes for the H version as well, if you really need to, but once again, I advise you just run through it as long as this isn't like contested with anything. So with all the normal stuff out the way, let's go into the character, not character specific, let's go into the like the knowledge check stuff that I want everybody to know and kill this character for when they just do this for free. Obviously, not every character is going to have tools to deal with this character, because that's just how the fighting games work. You're going to have losing matchups, you're going to have winning matchups, and unfortunately, your character might lose to Vikala. And that's just how it is sometimes, and yeah, I'll try to cover some like stuff that like characters without like projectiles and stuff like that can do to try to deal with this character, but yeah, if you want like more specific like stuff, if your character has a hard time into Vikala, then by all means feel free to message me. I'm more than happy to help someone that wants to learn how to fight this character, because oh my god, like I said in the beginning of this video, I hate watching people lose to this character, especially when you have winning matchups into this character, when you just don't know what you're doing. So by all means, if you don't know how to fight this character, don't be ashamed, because that's like literally the entirety of the player base, because no one feels like learning matchups. Then by all means, feel free to message me, and I will be more than happy to help you deal with, or try to deal with, this character. Even if it's player specific, I will help you try to, like, you know, figure out, you know, player specific habits that they like to do, and kill specific players for doing whatever. So yeah, with that out of the way, yeah, let's go into the knowledge check stuff that I would like for people to know when dealing with this character. Number 1, if she tries to do any type of zoning that isn't 2-1-4, like set up cannon, or throw this into like cannon or something like that, this, or like set up this is all fake. Mainly, we're gonna talk about mainly cannons. Cannons in neutral, if you let her get away with this and you have a projectile, you're losing. This is probably like a main reason why you're losing the matchup. As I said before, cannon is friggin' 50 frames. It is 50 frames. And the L and the M versions are 51. If she is doing this in neutral and you have a projectile, especially an EX projectile, this is probably the main reason why you're losing. You're just letting her set up for free. So this is especially like noticeable with EX projectiles. If you have a multi-hit EX projectile, if she tries to do something like this, on reaction, you can kill her for this. Or you don't even have to hit her, but as you can see, if she's full screen, even full screen, you kind of just do this right there, boom. Obviously, you might not be as privileged as Grand to get a counter hit on one of those, but yeah. If she ever does this, even like normal cannon, especially normal cannon, but like, she can't do this. If she tries to set up cannon on you mid-screen or a neutral and you have a projectile, an EX1 at that, she can't do this. It's just not. You can react to this and then do this and you can punish her. Because a lot of Vikala players won't even like go to full screen and do this. They'll be doing this like right here. If you see this, please, if you have an EX projectile, please do that. Even better, if you have 50 meter, this works like always. This even works full screen because, you know, ult slowdown and whatnot. She dies. She can't do this. If, like I said, if you have an EX projectile and you're letting her set up full screen, it is your fault. As I mentioned briefly before when I was covering her normals and her uniques, the items will actually clash with projectiles. So if you see something like this and you do a normal projectile right there, then as you can see, you clash, and especially with one of these, you're not winning. So if you have an EX projectile, that will beat those out, and that is the better option. But as you can see, you can kind of just do this on reaction. Like, I'm like delaying this hella, and it's still beating her out because she's still in recovery after shooting this. Especially with an ultimate projectile, if you have one of those, or something similar to an ultimate projectile. You have something that's like ultimate whatever, and it reaches like full screen, and you don't have to like lunge yourself forward. If it's not like a lariat, then you're probably good. But yeah, if you have a projectile, boom. This character can't do that. This is also something that, you know, you might see if, you know, she already has cannon set up. Okay, it is what it is. That happens. But if she's trying to do this, and throw items into the cannons, then it's like the same thing. If you see her trying to think, don't let her think, man. She is not allowed to think. So, yeah, when your projectiles, cannons are fake unless she gets the time to set it up, because of how minus she is on doing this. So yeah, that's number one. Number two, I'm just gonna reiterate this because I imagine there might be people that just skipped to this section, and didn't watch the trap section. So I'm gonna reiterate this. This is, like I said before, this is probably the biggest thing that people get killed by in this, against this character. So, I'm just gonna do this all over again. You've seen this situation before. She'll pop this, and you'll be like, oh god, it's cooked. I lost neutral. Get me out of here. You know, I need to go here, and I need to spot dodge this. Oh god, she's in my face. What do I do about this? Oh, I try to press. You hit me. God damn it. What do I do? This right here is your answer. You can just 6XL through this. So, if this has been bothering you, understand that 6XL is your best friend. It always will be, as long as, you know, they have it on the shirt. This will be your best friend. 6XL kills this move. Mainly because that this move, it just loses the people walking forward or running forward. If you have enough forward momentum, you can just not deal with this move. So, that is exactly why this right here works. And like I said, you'll see a lot of times where Vikala players will pop this and just run straight behind it. No, they can't do that. Make them think about popping this, because this is a fake neutral skip tool. You run up and like do this. You only run up and do this when they show that they know that you can run through this move. All you have to do is simply run through this. Like I said, of course, they can kind of play it like this and kind of like try to poke you out. But of course, they have to be a little bit early. Obviously, I'm not going to be... like, the recording's not going to be perfect. But obviously, they can play around that, try to like poke you out of you trying to do that. But until they show that, never respect this move. Because Vikala players don't know that... or most Vikala players don't know that you can just 6XL through this move. Or you can just run through this move. So, this move is fake. And the same thing goes for this move. It's the exact same thing, but it just costs 50 meters. You can run through this move. You can 6XL through this move. You can do it like any forward advancing thing through this move. So, this, like I said, if there is anything that you take away from this video, one thing that you take away from this video, it is this. Do not let this move control neutral when they show they don't know that you can just kind of run through this. So please, this applies to every single character that, you know, can run forward. I imagine freaking step dash character. I imagine Wilness can just freaking step dash through this move. He can definitely 2-1-4 through it. That's for damn sure. But just know that this move is fake. This move is fake as hell. Now 3, we're gonna be talking about like her pressure and whatnot. Her pressure, like I mentioned before, if you guys watched the general section, this move, I spoke very highly of this move. This move is amazing in pressure, but not a lot of players not a lot of Vikala players actually just use this. They'll just go ahead and spend this because, yes, I don't need this cooldown, even though it's my most important pressure cooldown. So, yeah. But yeah, what if you're stuck to deal with this move? What if the Vikala player knows what the hell they're doing, and they're just, you know, they're just doing this, and boom, you know, +9, +7. Oh god, you know, I can't do anything. I can't interact with this character. She's just doing this. What do? I made this easier on myself so I don't have to re-record this every time. I'm just gonna set the character or the computer to do this for me on block, so I don't have to re-record this every time. So basically, as you saw, I set the thing to roll, and yeah, that's your best option in most situations. So off of a far M, if you roll this, you are in the position to punish with a throw. Off of far L, you can punish this with a 6-framer. But here's where things get tricky, and it's off of a far H. Because if you're like Maxis in far H, then you will end up rolling into this. So this is something to keep in mind. Obviously, if your opponent sees that you keep rolling this, then this is a great option to deal with this, because this, as I mentioned before, this beats lows. If you didn't watch the section, then please go back and watch the 214 section. This does indeed beat lows, and it leads into a full combo on counter hit. So, that is something to look out for. So yeah, in the corner, you're going to be seeing a mix, you'll usually be seeing a mix of this, and no cancels, and then this. Or this. Because it's typically in normal pressure, this is all you're gonna see. Unless they have items that will, like, they have like bomb, or not bomb, they have spike ball, or they have like cannonball, or they have star. They'll oftentimes do something like this, like they'll do this and they'll throw this. Because this is really good. Because it's just 3+ frames. You can't really do too much about this. I'll cover this a little bit more in a bit, like what you do against these cancels, but like typically if they have an item to throw, then they'll do that. If not, you'll be seeing this, you'll be seeing this, and then sometimes you might see this. In the instance that you see cannon on like one of these, like a cancelable option, this can also be rolled, and she's -8. Well, that's obviously off of the far M, but far H, as you can see, she's still minus enough to be throw punished off of a far H. Off of a far L or a far M, she's minus enough to be punished with a close light for the entire cast. So if you're rolling, like if you're rolling in anticipation of this, then this is something that will also get caught if she decides to do this. So the only answer she really has to roll is to 214 or to do no cancel, and then she'll blow you up for it. And then of course, you know, you got to use all of the tools in your arsenal. Sometimes she might use this as a pressure reset tool, something like this. This, for one, it's like not a bad option if you want to reset and you see that they are like respecting your pressure and whatnot. But of course, you are plus when you roll this. Well, at least that version. If you roll the EX version, if you're using the EX version, then she's plus enough to get a throw punish. If I can time this right. As you can see, no escape, punish. So this is something to keep in mind if you're doing this. I don't know how many Vikala players are actually ready for this, but it is something to keep in mind of. But if she does any of the other ones and you roll this, it is your turn. Unless it's like a far H, but then she's like only +1. But in that situation, it's a lot better. Especially if you keep this in mind. If you were a character with a 5-framer, and she does this and you roll, she has a 6-frame close L. So if you have a 5-framer, you will clash. So it's technically an even playing field. And so I showed you basically what her corner pressure looks like, but obviously there might be some unanswered questions like, you rolling this move and you getting caught by that because, you know, it's bad, not cool. For one, let me answer this, answer that right now. In terms of dealing with this, there is an answer, of course. Actually, there might be a couple answers to this. One, because you rolling this is bad because it's not actually hitting you. It's being put in front of you. So if you roll this, you're rolling into it, and then you're done. So, if you just sit here, and you don't do anything, you see the frame data, she's minus 31. So in this situation, this is like very specific. Obviously, you have to like understand like distances, but you can jump this. If she is like max distance, this is only like max distance, 623. Jump is your best friend right here. Not that you'll be able to get like a punish, but unless you have some like, you have like Sandy like 5U or something like that, you shouldn't be able to punish this, but you get yourself out of this situation. However, if it's a situation where it's like bar 5H, but it's not max distance, you can still roll this, but you won't be able to punish. But just know that you got yourself your turn back. Good job. I always mention 623L in pressure, but not 623H, because a lot of players actually use 623H and just burn this cooldown, which I think is a huge mistake. But if they do burn this cooldown, then that is one less thing that you have to think about. But in terms of dealing with 623H in terms of 623L, it is the exact same. It's just that she is now more minus for doing this. As you can see, if you roll that, if you roll 623H, she dies. That was minus 16 in comparison to plus 4, a throw. So your reward for guessing right on a 623H is even higher. So if they like to do this move on a cancel, whether it be from far H, far M, they die. So just to give the TLDR, when canceling or when dealing with Vikala canceling from far normals into stuff, roll will beat out 623L, it will beat out 623H, it will beat out cannons, it will beat out this, it will beat out L and M trap, but it will lose to H trap because you will roll into her face and she will be plus 4, so she gets a throw punish. It loses to 214L because this catches rolls and you will die. And it loses to no cancel because you just roll in her face and now you're like minus like 25 or something like that and you die. However, one huge thing that I see people do under pressure that you should never do is spot dodge. I've been mentioning roll a lot, but you should never spot dodge. One, because everything that you would spot dodge instead of rolling, you lose now because you don't move anywhere, and now this thing is landing on top of you, and you die. If you were to just spot dodge cannons, you don't go anywhere. You're plus, but you're not in front of your face. You can't punish this anymore. But you see, if you roll, you're right there, and boom, there's a punish. But if you spot dodge, nothing happens. Nothing happens. So people might be afraid of like this move. Oh no, you know, if I spot dodge this move, I don't take chip. Or if I spot dodge this move, I'm plus. But I want you to keep in mind, you see that plus 7 right there. What happens if you just block it? You're plus 8. It's the same thing. Not even the same thing. It's better if you just sit there and block this instead. So, you have no reason to spot dodge. Also, this, you spot dodging, actually loses the trap too. So you're losing to more things by spot dodging than you are by rolling. If you just roll, trap doesn't do anything because it's behind you now. And it's now your turn. Not like you can punish this, but it's now your turn. But if you sit here and you spot dodge this, you're dying. Sit here and spot dodge this, you're still minus. So nothing good comes from spot dodging in the corner. If you're going to do something, just roll. Obviously, you might get caught by this, but in this situation, you just guessed wrong. You might as well just block this. And if you're plus 8 in this situation, You know, she might do something like that, try to keep you out. But it doesn't matter, because you're +8. She can't do anything right here, because that move is 7 frames. And you're doing your 8 framer when you're +8. She can't do anything right here. Unless you're extremely late, like I just was. So, like, the best thing she has in this situation is to just, like, backdash again. Like, something like that. And then, of course, you can play, like, RPS and stuff like that. But even if you, like, 6XL, she can't really do too much, and you gain so much space. You gain so much space. And her being right here, this is so much better than being back into the corner, which I'll go over in a second. But yes, if you block this move, you guessed right, you block this move, just get out of there. She can't do anything right here because she can't enforce anything because she's -8. So yeah, it's something to keep in mind. Hopefully you remember your options. If you need to go over that again, just refer back to the TLDR. So don't spot dodge. If you block 214L, take your turn with anything. And yeah, that's about it. One thing that I need to go over in particular, which is something that I see Vikala players do a lot, is they'll just do this. Or, you know, they'll do something like this. This move, like I said before, 2M sucks. This move is garbage. One, because you can't do anything on a no cancel. She's -10. No canceling this is off the table. And two, anything off of a 2M loses to roll. Well, most things. There's like one thing that doesn't lose to roll, and that's this. Because this recovers like fast enough. It's like similar to like doing this into this, and like I mentioned, doing that is kind of you know, if you roll, she can get a throw punish. But everything else loses to roll on 2M. So again, to make this easier for myself, I switched to Vikala. So yeah, let's see what happens when I try to do anything off of 2M, like any type of cancel. So one, let's do 2M into cannon. I'm -8. I die. I do 2M into EX cannon. I die. I do 2M into 214 or 623. +4. I die. I do 2M into 63H. Oh god, I'm -16. I'm super dead. Okay, what about the option that beats roll? What if I do 2M into 214L? It's a true block string. And guess what happens when I block 214L? Oh my goodness, I'm -8 and I die. So, actually, wait, hold on. What if I do 2M into 5U? I'm minus. If they hold this at all, I keep forgetting that I'm player 1 now. If I do this at all, if I hold this at all, she dies. So, if you've ever seen Vikala run up 2M in your face and do something, this sucks. This option is terrible. Every time you see 2M, you should buffer roll. Without a doubt. You should roll. There is no time where you shouldn't roll because this literally beats everything. If the Vikala player is running up in your face and doing 2M and doing nothing to try to bait you out rolling, they're just on the next layer and you need to adapt. But literally without fail, layer 1, Vikala is going to run up and do something. They're going to cancel into something. They will run up and cancel into something. And this all loses to roll. She dies if you roll on anything from 2M. Except for, of course, like I mentioned before, if you do this, if she does this, oh, she's +4, but that's like rarely ever happening. If she does this, you're +1. But yeah, this is something that something that people need to learn. 2M into cancel is fake. If you see 2M, you roll. She dies. That is it. That is all. That is it. Next thing is that 236U, I mentioned before, this move sends you full screen. And you're like, dang, okay, that kind of sucks. But one thing that people do not know is that this can't be forced into a true block string unless it is blocked off of an H normal. So there will be a lot of times where people will block. I already said this to do this right now, but people will block this. And, you know, they'll just take this. And they'll be like, ah, oh, damn, that's rough. Guess I'm back at full screen. But no. This is not a true block string. And as you can see, if you spot dodge it, you're plus as hell. And this happens a lot in the corner where Vikala players will literally just do this. And you get sent full screen. And what do you know? If you spot dodged it, she's minus 14 and she dies. She explodes. You know, you'll see a lot of this. Like I said before, 2M is fake as hell. This move sucks. So, if you ever see this into this, just spam spot dodge, it will come out, she dies. It is as simple as that. However, this is the only true block string if she does an H normal into one of these. Even better, even if she does happen to make this a true block string, you can do this. And guess what? You're plus 10. So, if you just BC this, doesn't matter where you are, even better if you're like right here, because then you can like actually like hit her for it. But like, if you BC this, she dies, even if it's a true block string. So, TLDR, this isn't a true block string unless it's canceled off in H normal. And two, even if it's canceled off in H normal and it is a true block string, if you BC the projectile, you are plus 10. So, good things to know. Next, I want to talk about this situation in the corner. They recently actually buffed this, which they considered a bug fix. Why? I don't know. But in the corner, she has a pretty funny Throw Oki, where she does this. And initially, she would be point blank, so this was kind of like fake. But now, she can do this. She is minus 5, however, as you can see. So that is something to keep in mind. 1, she's minus off of this. But 2, now she can like kind of, she can do this, and then obviously it's not crouching. So let me do that real quick. And kind of like step forward a little bit. So I kind of just wanted to point out the existence of this. One in particular is the fact that she is not plus after this, which is something that's good to know. But she's also not in throw range. There is a few characters that they're big enough to where they're just kind of in like to where the spacing distance from the grab no longer matters, so you can just like throw her out of it, and it's fake and she can't really do anything. But most characters do indeed have to deal with this. You know, you kind of just do this. And then, yeah, obviously throw protection is there on wake up, so if you do stand, then she won't be able to grab you, but of course if you stand, you're susceptible to 2L, so that is something to keep in mind. So one of the last things I want to cover is pressure mid-screen. So I did mention her corner pressure pretty strong, but you know, you do this, and then you know, it's a lot of guessing and stuff like that, a lot of guesswork. But yeah, mid-screen, this is not nearly as scary. Obviously, she can still, like, do this and make you block this. But, yeah, you have a lot of options to kind of, like, deal with it. Maybe not a lot, but there is one strong option that you can do to kind of deal with this. As well as the options that already existed from the corner, which is, you know, you rolling and whatnot. Never spot dodging, you rolling. And, yeah. Particularly at a distance, more like max, like far M distance or far H distance, one of the best things you can do if they like to just do 214 or 623 is literally just back up. Because if you back up, then you don't deal with the plus frames. It's as simple as that. Obviously, this is if you're not content on rolling and whatnot, but backing up right here is a very, very solid option. Again, you're not dealing with the plus frames. You get a decent amount of space. And if they do this instead, then obviously not what I'm doing. You can, if you have something like that, then boom, she dies. Obviously, spacing might be a little difficult with like how far away, how close you are to this, because it is very active. But if you can get a decent distance and a move that doesn't like extend your hurt box that far, then this is a great option. If you can do something like this, obviously. And you know, what about the other options? You're just backing up. But of course, if you're just backing up, this doesn't hit low, so you're not getting caught by this. Nothing hits low from this far, so if you're backing up, you're just -8. And boom, now it's your turn. And the same thing applies. Just take your turn back. It's your +8. You can do a lot from right here. Next, we're going to go over to her item cancels. I personally wasn't too sure about this myself, especially since I haven't really put too much time into this character after the changes. Well, with the changes being her items now being shown on the thing, so I didn't end up using 5U a lot in pressure, but now this is a valid option because, boom, some of these items are pretty good in pressure. How do you deal with it? So for one, the stuff that I mentioned before still goes for like typical pressure stuff. That is, roll is your best friend in most situations. So obviously this doesn't account for them trying to bait out you rolling, but for most situations, roll is pretty good option. So for one, I just chose Spike Ball because this is one of the most active projectiles that she has, and it stays on the screen afterwards. So what happens if I were to roll this right here? Boom. +3. It's pretty decent. So if I were to go like right here, off of RM, roll, it actually misses, and boom, you're +3. Of course, you also have to worry about the Farf of H, which there's a certain point where the distance is a little bit too far for you to roll because you'll just roll right into it, so that is something to keep in mind. But this also applies like mid-screen and stuff like that. If you were to do something like this, roll is a pretty decent option. If you spawn dodge, then depending on spacing, you might be kind of in a weird position. So of course, roll is your best friend. I did a little testing with Star as well because that's one of like the more like weird ones. All the same stuff applies if you're mid-screen. However, if you're in the corner, this is kind of something that is kind of, it's iffy. Depends on how close you are to your opponent, of course. Like something like this will get caught out right there, but I don't know why when I ran forward a little bit and then did this, it just went through. So this is kind of weird in the corner, but however, something like this is fine. You know, you'll be able to, you know, gain some space right here and whatnot. Also, something that I did not mention before. If you throw her, even if it isn't like a successful throw, items will go away. So, like a situation like this, all the things coming back, you just try to throw her and then items are gone. It's kind of like Nier before she got changed, where items would, or death would go away on throw tech, and then she just, yeah, it sucked. But yeah, it's the same with this, but it's her items. So if you see yourself in this situation and Star's coming back, oh no, let me just throw, and if they check it, then oh, it's alright, then you know you're in a situation where the Star is no longer a threat because it's gone. I guess I should mention it because it's, you know, maybe not the most obvious, but there are certain situations where she can set up, like I mentioned before. If you didn't watch the trap section, then due to traps aren't usually used in like situation where they'll be in front of you because they can be interacted with and destroyed pretty easily. So you'll often see stuff like this. So, you know, something like this. There's a couple of options she has off of this. You know, she can throw. If, you know, let me turn this off. She can throw. And she can get a combo off of it. Sometimes it doesn't work because that's just, you know, that's the character. But yeah, she can get a throw combo off of it in certain situations. She can do this, set up the overhead, and lead into a combo from here. You know, she can like try to just like push you into it to gain more like space and stuff like that, and retain plus frames. So there's a couple things you can do off of that, but of course I just wanted to put that there to kind of make you guys aware of the options that exist. It's not too scary if you just block and, you know, you button tag or something like that. But yeah. Also, I guess it's something to note that Vikala players will like to do 66M a lot when they have bomb, because yeah, 66M bomb loses to a full combo. Pretty neat. But yeah, I just wanted to point that out. So to wrap it up, just general tips of advice. When you're dealing with her in pressure, I'd say the safest bet, because I know her pressure is a little like, it's a lot of guessing. It's a lot of guesswork. It's not like her turn just ends right here. When she can, you know, keep her turn with 623L and stuff like that. But one thing I would like to highly advise when dealing with this character is please just sit back and block for a little bit. Obviously you can guess right once and she dies, but a good way to figure out an opponent's pressure, no matter like what character it is you just sit back and block for a little bit, see how they like to play it, see how they like to throw out like moves and stuff like that, which can give you a better idea on how to you know, where to pick your spots. So, you know, you might realize they use 623 a lot, so you're gonna roll a little more. If you see that they're gonna use 214 to bait out a roll, then you just sit and block and then you take your turn afterwards. So it's little stuff like that. You don't always have to be active on defense. Just go ahead and sit and watch for a bit, see what they do, and then pick your spots accordingly. One other thing with her pressure is that something that's really good to keep in mind, just for any character in general, is watch cooldowns. Because this character's pressure just disappears when, one, she doesn't have items. So with this character in particular, also watch items. Two, she uses 623 cooldown, because a lot of Vikala players will just use this because yeah, they wanted to, and now their pressure is one of two things: it is 214 or it's nothing, or it's like an item toss with, you know, when they have a decent item. But yeah, once they get rid of this, once they use this cooldown, their pressure is infinitely less scary, because everything they do makes them like everything they do is now like minus on block, unless you're doing 236, and you know that also loses a roll and whatnot. So yeah, keep in mind cooldowns, especially this cooldown. Keep in mind of items, and like I mentioned before, which items do and do not have a hitbox when they're thrown out with 5U, because that will change a lot of things. If you recognize, you know, they like doing this into this, and they, you know, they just do an item that doesn't have a hitbox on the way out, you hit them and then they die. So it is something that is really good to keep in mind. And one thing when dealing with her zoning, I did mention this before, that jumping is a solid option, because if she just whiffs this, she dies. But it's also good to just, you know, kind of play this pretty safe. You can just do something like this. You kind of just like slowly approach, you know, crouch under that stuff, you know, jump over something like that. So, you know, take her pressure or like her zoning very slow, because she really only has this one move to zone you, and it, one, loses the crouching, or if she does 2 on 4Ls, it doesn't even reach that far. So you only have to worry about this at a certain distance, and then you can start worrying about this when you get about like half screen or something like that. So it is something to keep in mind when dealing with this. And also, I did mention 236 being a big one to look out for when you're dealing with this character. And like, if she does this, then you just like do this. But this also goes for if she'd like to do this as well. Like if you see her flash gold, then this, if you have something that reaches like full screen pretty fast, this will be a really good option, because if she's doing this full screen, then she got it, I guess. But this is really bad for her, because if she uses this full screen, then this cooldown is up, and now she has literally no real way of zoning, and she has to commit to something that is something like this, or she has to approach, which she is not great at doing. Just because she's fast doesn't mean like her approach game is, or she has a lot of things that help her get in. So again, if you have 50 meter and she does anything that is any of the cannons, this, or like hold that, then just use your ultimate projectile, and yeah, that'll do. But yeah, I think that's finally gonna wrap this up. If I miss anything, then I apologize. I didn't write down anything before going into this video, so I hope I got everything off of memory. And this is a character that I've seen beat people that are like, that's just better than the other, like their opponent, for long enough, because they simply don't know the matchup. And as you can see, there's a lot of holes in this character's game plan that can be easily exploited as long as you know what you're doing. So hopefully, with this video, I was able to expose those holes, and you guys can better, you know, approach these Vikala players. Because yeah, there's certain, you know, there's certain times where you just, you know, you just don't know, and it happens. So hopefully now you know, and you never lose to this character again. Hopefully, that is my wish with these types of videos. But yeah, with that out of the way, I appreciate you guys for watching. If you have any extra questions, because obviously, like I mentioned, there were options that I showed where, you know, it's not universal. You know, not every character has a projectile, not every character has an ultimate like move that reaches full screen that can deal with cannons. So if you have any more specific questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, or even, you know, ask me personally. I'd be happy to help, you know, show you your options to deal with this character, you know, matchup specific stuff. But yeah, if you watch through this entire thing, then I, you know, I really appreciate it. So yeah, that's gonna be it. If you guys enjoyed or found this helpful, you know, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you want updates on newer videos, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.